Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot for, I got this, October 19th. So, thank you for all of the Thanksgiving wishes that I received. It's very sweet. Thank you. I've enjoyed my time off. I'm feeling a little bit more recharged and ready to kind of keep going into fall. So thank you for that. For my new subscribers, thank you so much. Welcome to the Soulprint family. I hope that you enjoy this channel and enjoy the offerings. The comments, the thumbs up, they're all brilliant. You know that. And of course, to my established subscribers, well, I adore you. So, now I know you've all heard about this, but and it's a few days late, but I really needed to do a reading on it. So, Trump says that if the government, I guess, or the Republicans, more accurately, um, don't sort out this whole election fraud, stealing, well, the Republicans just aren't going to vote in the next election or the one after that. Duh. Yay. What is going on in his head? And literally, as I ask that question, I hear sabotage, sabotage, okay? So that's what I want to do. I want to take a bit of a look at what's going on there. You know, he's losing lawsuit after lawsuit. They're getting tossed out of court. The last one, I think it was Georgia. That got booted out because he was trying to once again prove that everything got stolen from it, which of course it didn't. So that's what I want to look at today. I want to take a look at what impact that kind of a statement is going to have. And I want to take a look at, sort of how those elections are unfolding. I mean, oh my God, it's only going to be a couple more weeks before it's the 1-year anniversary of Trump losing the presidency, and he still has not gotten over it. Oh my God, talk about being able to hold a grudge, okay? And that's exactly what's going on with him. So we're going to take a look at that. Before I forget, because, I can be flaky sometimes. And to those of you who are watching who have also subscribed to my Soulprint Insights channel, thank you so, so much. That's really lovely, and I very, very much appreciate it. We're going to do something a little bit different on this week's Soulprint Insights channel. For those of you who are not subscribed, there is a link in the description box below. Those videos come out on Wednesday, generally speaking, so you might want to hit that bell. However, what we're going to do is something a little bit different. For those who have been viewers of that channel for a while, you know that I often do guided meditations. And there's all kinds of them, right? There's some to connect with your angels. There's some to release hurt. There's tons of them. But the one I'm going to be releasing this Wednesday is it's a guided meditation to help you control or lose weight. It's just as simple as that. Now, it doesn't work all by itself, obviously, but it is effective and it works. I know because I use it. So I thought it was time that I shared that with you. In fact, I wasn't holding it back. I actually just never thought about it. But anyways, so on Wednesday, Soulprint Insights, guided meditation, how to control and or lose your weight. Let's get on with Trump, shall we? Oh my God, what is he thinking? What is he thinking? What is going on with him? This is the thing, right? I mean, we all know that he lives in this really crazy alternate reality. We understand that he's, so obsessed with all the things that he's obsessed with that it has sort of warped him. But what's going on now is sort of vicious, really vicious. Okay, so for those of you wondering, I have a lovely wooden wind chime in one of my windows that I actually brought back from Hawaii. And Twyla, our little all-black kitten, who's going to be a year old in December, is batting at it because it makes noise and she likes that. So Come on down. I have a question. Whoopsie. It's quite the question I have. Here we go. Okay. Shift this a little bit. There we go. Try to get out of the glare a bit. Okay. Trump Republican voters. Trump Republican voters. Trump Republican voters. There actually was something that came out recently that said it was a Pew poll, who I understand they're quite right leaning anyways. But apparently some 67% of Republicans think that he, the king of the con, should actually play a significant role in future Republican government. So, wow. Of course, 3 people out of 10 or 4 people out of 10 does not have the same impact as 7 or 8 people out of 10. Here we go. What's going on with him? Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Let's get started, shall we? Okay, so he is desperate to get his voice heard, get his message across. One of the things, I think it was in Florida, it might have been last week, one of the things that was thrown out of court was he wanted a judge to force Twitter to allow him to reactivate his account. And I think that one got thrown out of court, actually. I'm not even sure if it went anywhere, but the reality is that Twitter's a private company and they don't have to, and you're not, guaranteed freedom of speech under the Constitution by a private entity. Okay, the freedom of speech is from the government. Okay, be that as it may, because we know, come on, we know that if the king of the con is one thing, he is an absolute scholar at politics and law and the Constitution. We understand that he knows better than anybody. He understands it better. There's nobody in the whole world who gets it better than he does. Okay? Tongue in cheek. So he's desperate to get this message out, okay? Because as his base shrinks, all right? And let's not forget, it wasn't that long ago that his blog got turned off due to lack of anybody paying attention to it. So what's happening is, as he is losing his voice, his money, his revenue, the income is being impacted, and not in a good way. So he's clinging to the only thing he can cling to, which was that victory, the victory from the past, okay? And he just refuses to acknowledge that this is coming to an end, that it's done. He's done, it's done, that's all there is, it's done. So that's where he sits. So right now, what he's trying to do is he's trying to bring down literally the government. He's trying to use the law to do that, although God knows it's not working, because heavens, everything keeps getting thrown out of court. Because more and more, he is becoming literally, the words I'm hearing is a loud mouth has been. Sometimes I gotta say, my guides are a little catty. But here you go, right? This is what you've got here. You've got somebody who just will not accept the current reality. And like a child having a temper tantrum, he's out to destroy everything in his path, everything that he thinks prevented him from going on to his greatest glory. And like, don't make any mistake, guys. If he had won that next presidency, okay, he would have pushed to become like a sovereign ruler. Don't kid yourself. So, for him, it was sort of almost twice as devastating, because not only was he humiliated by the loss, but he also saw those sort of far-reaching dreams and ambitions get shattered. That's part of the reason, actually, that he's having such a hard time of letting go, because it wasn't as nearsighted, I think, as a lot of us thought it was. It wasn't that he wanted another 4 more years. He wanted another 8 years, another 12 years, another 16 years. And then he wanted, I don't know, one of his offspring to move into position. Okay? So the magnitude of what he perceives that he lost is massive. And that's part of the reason that he is going to do whatever it takes to bring down the very institutions that did not support what he wanted to achieve. Okay, so there you have it. That's the baseline from which we are now working. And he's unable. He cannot let it go. He just cannot. Usually this Six of Swords is about sort of, moving on from troubled waters. But in fact, in this case, that oar is stuck firmly in the troubled waters, and he's not capable of moving beyond that. He loves the chaos. He loves the turmoil. It feeds him. And so he's not prepared to let anything go. And the reality is he keeps on holding these ridiculous, ridiculous rallies. And Chuck Grasser should be ashamed of himself, just saying. But because that's the only way he can get fed, right? That's the only way he will see people adoring him, people hanging on to his every word, people just gobbling up whatever nonsense spews out of his mouth. It's becoming apparent that he has less and less ability to hold on to rein in his emotions. Now, I hear you. He was never good at it in the first place. I give you that. But to some degree, he saw the presidency as a performance. And so when he had time to prepare, he saw it as a role that he was playing. And so he sort of fancied that he was able to project the appropriate emotion to whatever he was talking about, whether that was sincerity or, anger or whatever it was. I don't know. But what's happening at these rallies, and that's kind of why it stands out, right? Because in some ways, a rally is something that he can prepare for, right? It's not like some, news person shoving a microphone in his face, which, by the way, I don't see happening. Like, even at these rallies, are there actually reporters like running up to him and shoving microphones in his face? Because I don't see any coverage of that. Anyways, if you take a look at some of the clips from the rallies, and this is going to become more and more amplified as days go forward, he has less and less control over his emotions. He is raging. He is ranting. His skin is shiny. He is sweating. He is just getting himself so worked up. He can't control it. He can't contain it anymore. Because what's happening is every time something doesn't go his way, it just completely increases the pressure of him once again circling back to, I have to get my message out. I have to get my message out. People have to hear what I want to say. Okay. And so you can see where he's sort of in this vicious circle. It's about the money. In some ways, it's about people overseas, right? He is not going to be taking back the White House. The White House is going to stand, okay? But it is a heck of a good tool, right? Oh, I think I'm going to run. Oh, I don't know. We'll have to see. It's a game he's playing. And now, right, his latest thing is he's getting donations because you know, he started this whole thing, we're not going to vote, right? So he's pumping everybody up. But again, you got to remember that the number of people who are actually getting pumped up gets smaller and smaller, okay? There's fewer Republicans, but the ones that are there are all in. And unfortunately, for the people of the United States, that includes your Congress. They're all in. Yeah, you know, poor guy. So you have the 8 and the 9 of swords bracketing the 2 of wands. So the worry, the anxiety, the stress, the strain, etc., etc. The more he tries to look forward, in some ways, it's almost like the more hamstrung he gets, the crazier he gets, the faster his mind spins. And so it's putting him in this place where he is becoming incredibly more erratic. I mean, he never was somebody who understood the consequences of his words or his actions, but he is in a place now where even if somebody explained it to him, he just wouldn't care because his vision is in such a tunnel now that, you know, he's just in that place, okay? But I don't want anybody to think that he's so loony that he doesn't kind of know what's going on. He's very clear about what's going on. What's going on is he needs more money. And he's figured out that there are certain buzzwords, if you will, that are going to draw that money in. I mean, his donation pledge things that go out, apparently they're all but saying if you don't donate, you're a traitor. Um, you know, so he's gonna, there's no low. That's too low. Okay. Now, yeah, look, he is just getting completely enclosed and blocked in. He's starting to get a little bit concerned about the law coming after him. He's getting concerned about, you know, this executive privilege thing that's not going to fly. Because he realizes that there really is some stuff that might even be a bit of a bridge too far for even some of his supporters. Not for all of them, but for a few of them. Oh, he's not in a good place. Okay, he's just not. There's a lot of stress. There's like a lot of anxiety. I want to say blood pressure issues, headache, maybe stomach. Like he's just a ball of anxiety, and a ball of worry and stress. And he won't accept any advice at this point. Apparently, he's having a really hard time attracting even mediocre lawyers to help defend this whole "I have executive privilege even though I'm not a president anymore" nonsense. I mean, even the likes of Jay Sekulow, okay, is not signing on to this. That tells you something. Yeah. So, you know, here we have it, right? This sort of, he's going to steal whatever he can steal using whatever magic he can use. So this is actually about upcoming elections, okay, even though it absolutely applies to previous ones. But, you know, there you have it. Big circle with him, right? He always has been and always will remain a one-trick pony. So let's just not forget that. He is going to do whatever he can to bully his base and to bully Republicans. He is pushing so hard, and listen, it's going to get worse, okay? Um, Once sort of the new year starts, when it officially becomes another election year for you guys, honest to God, you guys would do so much better if you just had elections that only lasted 3 months or something, right? Because this perpetually being in an election year is part of the reason, in my opinion, that it's very hard to get stuff done within your government because they work for a year and then they're in an election, and then they work for a year and then they're in an election. I mean, it's kind of crazy. But so what's happening here? So this is by hook or by crook. He's going to do everything he can to convince his voters to do what he says. And what he says at this point is don't vote because it's rigged and it's a lie and you can't trust it. Okay. All right. Well, that's good. So don't vote. Republicans, please. Protest. Stay at home. Don't vote. Don't, please. It's very important that you listen to your supreme leader here. Okay, and he's saying, don't you go vote, so don't you go vote. Honest to God. Even though he makes these crazy statements and there's this sort of flood of people going, oh my God, you can't say stuff like that. Don't you realize? He doesn't realize, he doesn't care. Okay. And the thing is even after it's pointed out to him, even if in some little teeny tiny part of his brain, he thinks, whoa, dumb move, buddy. His ego is such that he can do nothing but double down. So even in some recesses of his little pea brain, he figures out that maybe something he said or did wasn't cool. He's not able to backtrack. He's just not. He is going to continue to be a force throughout the 2022 election cycle. After that, I do not believe so. And he is going to kind of, again, by hook or by crook, right? He fancies himself able to bestow favors and take away favors. And honestly, to be fair, he's been quite effective at it. Unfortunately, when he bestows a favor upon you, it always blows up like a firecracker in the recipient's face. But for whatever reason, they keep leaving their, they keep putting their guard down or their shield up, or not up, but off. So what happens is you have these people who buy into the nonsense and they rush ahead spewing all their crazy. And for reasons that I fail to understand, nobody actually just twigs into the fact that he's loyal to none but himself. It's a crazy, crazy thing. So he is going to continue to play a role in the 2022 elections. But what I'm seeing is that on the one hand, while he is promoting certain people, the message in the same sentence literally is, but don't vote because they're going to steal the election. Don't vote because this is rigged. Don't vote. Okay? So the louder and the longer he harps on the fact that the election was stolen and you can't trust any election results, he thinks what that does is it puts his choices in a fighting position to push back. But we saw in California what happened. Okay? His choice, I don't know, melted on the hot cement or something. I don't know. Anybody heard anything from this guy? Okay. The more he tries, the bigger the collapse is going to be. And this applies not only to the king of the con, but it also applies to some of these like government agencies who are building these laws that give them sort of all of this power, right? So that even if somebody else wins the election, they don't like that somebody, they just nullify that win and put their own person in, like all of that crazy stuff. It's all going to come down like a tower, okay? Because the rule of law is going to hold. And the more they try to enforce unjust laws, the bigger the crash. Okay, so in some cases, this tower card is brilliant because this is about them and their illegal actions and their crazy laws collapsing in a big bang. And the reason for it is ultimately, this stuff is not, none of it has a stable base, right? Because it's insane what they're doing and what they're trying to get away with. There he is. Yep. So, this is kind of the thing, right? He's he's busy working behind the scenes. He's being very diligent. He's being as focused as a teensy fly can be. But he, more and more and more, is becoming disenchanted and dissatisfied because he's not getting the results he wants. And, every once in a while, like that, we won't vote deal, he puts out, from, what is it, from the desk of the 45th president or whatever the heck that legal, that letterhead says. But very rarely do they gain any traction. I mean, this one about we won't vote gained traction simply because it was too stupid to ignore, okay? But he's not, like, read this in reverse, right? He's not very satisfied. He's not getting anywhere. It's like he's trying and he's trying, but he's just not accomplishing anything, and he's becoming more and more despondent, more and more frustrated, and that's not a good thing, because when he gets frustrated, he just spews like a child, like an infant having a tantrum. It's about the money for him, okay? It's just as simple as that. And anybody hoping that the Republicans or the Republican voters are going to find balance, that somebody somehow is going to be able to get through to them, that's not going to happen. There is no balance. After the 2022 elections, that is when you're going to see a collapse. You're going to see not only a collapse of the Republican Party, but you're going to see a collapse of his power, of his ability to control. I don't believe that I'm the only reader who is seeing kind of worrying health concerns for him, but I think that when the 2022 election doesn't turn out the way he anticipates, it really could just sort of crush him. And anything that he has been holding in abeyance or pushing past, right, is going to sort of come back at him. This reminds me of, and I'm sure all of us have done it at one point in time, and some of us unfortunately make a lifelong habit of it, but it's that, okay, I feel horrible, I'm exhausted, or I'm not feeling well, or whatever, but I need to get this done. This is priority, it needs to be done. And so what happens is we push ourselves past whatever that goal was, whatever that thing was that just had to get done, and it was taking precedence over our health. And once that gets done and we slow down, that is when we get sick, right? That's when we collapse. That's when we get the cold or the flu or whatever that stomach turns into flat ulcers, whatever it is, right? And that really is the same energy that I'm getting here. It's that sense of he's going to push and push and push, and then he's going to be deflated. Just deflated. Sorry, it's playtime for the cats in case you're hearing funny noises. There is more stuff to come out about Donald Trump. And I have to tell you, it's not good. Okay, some of it, okay, a lot of it. Look you've got nothing but pentacles here. Have to do with how he acquired some of his money. how that money was assessed, the things he's done to hang on to it, and exposure. You know, a long time ago, like months and months and months ago, I got some information, and it really casts him in a horrendous light. Now, I'm not going to go into specifics because that, frankly, would be foolish of me. It would almost be dangerous of me to start spouting these ideas, okay? But what I will say is I think that there's going to be some information coming out that in many ways connects him more closely to Epstein than we realize. And I'm not saying he's connected to Epstein. What I'm saying is there could be behaviors or patterns that mirror some of Epstein's antics. But you know, a lot of us readers have been saying, like, I don't know, man, somewhere down the line, something's going to happen, and the Republicans are just going to pull away from him. It's going to be so bad that they're just not going to be able to stand by him anymore. Well, we already know how low they'll go. So really, how bad would it have to be for him to push them away? Just a thought. Just a thought. Okay, so favor, please. On Friday's video, I would really like to do a your questions and pendulum answers. So if you would please send forward your questions just in the comment section. Yes, no questions, right? For this Friday, that would be fabulous. If by any chance any of you are in Virginia, go vote, because I'm pretty sure today is that governor's race in Virginia. So yeah, send forward your questions. And like I said, on Wednesday on the Soulprint Insights channel, we're going to do a guided video on controlling or losing weight. So until next time, take care. Be well. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.